November, and you are with episode 49 of the Skeinz Diaries. And I'm coming to you today from a very wet, very cold Napier, and I'm talking 12 degrees centigrade, and we are only a few weeks away from summer. Someone killed spring, honestly, overnight. It is insane. But we welcome the rain, because the rain is always a good thing this time of year to keep things going. But it is really, really chilly. So chilly, in fact, that I have busted out the sweaters that I thought I'd packed away for the summer and wouldn't need to bust out. But it's actually been kind of good, because the weather today has given me the theme of what I wanted to talk about today, which is awesome. I was really hoping that this morning I could come to you with our knit along that we're doing, our Rebel knit along, and have completed the body and had cast on some sleeves, and I could talk about sleeve shaping, which is what I really wanted to talk about. But as it transpired, I didn't get as much knitting over the weekend done as I would have liked. The weekend kind of got away on me, partially because I went to the rugby yesterday to watch Hawke's Bay, who had a fantastic win over Wellington. Sorry, Wellington, but it was wonderful. So that's sort of, and I didn't take my knitting to the rugby. So yes, I've got done that much on my base. So I'm halfway down the bottom. So hopefully in the next couple of days I'll actually get that completed. And I'm also trying to decide whether or not I'm going to do a contrast pocket. I think I will. I'm pretty convinced I'm going to do a contrast pocket. But I'm just trying to decide what yarn I'm going to use for that. Now, if you want to see how this is going to turn out, there are a number of you who have completed Rebel already, and they are looking amazing. I've seen a few of them, as well as seeing them in our speakeasy. Do make sure you check out Instagram as well. I saw that there was a couple posted up on Instagram, and Daryl, you posted yours up over the weekend, and it looked gorgeous. And there's a few of them out there, and it is so good to see them completed. And I have to say, I am still really enjoying knitting this. It is a very pleasurable thing to knit. It is still not too late to cast it on. Honestly, if you haven't cast it on yet, don't feel like that you've missed the boat on this. I have got something lined up across the summer months, but I haven't actually, I'm not going to announce that until the beginning of December. I'd like to get all our Rebels finished and done for the rest of this month. And it is a really, really pleasurable thing to knit. So I'm so sorry I can't give you more progress on that, but I am just totally loving it, absolutely loving it. So that's where I'm at with my Rebel. What I'm wearing today, though, is brilliant. Actually, I'll take this off. What I'm wearing today, I pulled out the chika today because it is, seriously, I couldn't believe how cold it was this morning. And this is chika, which is done in our Southlander bulky. Perfect timing to talk about this, because we have got a spotlight on Southlander for all of this month. So we've got fantastic pricing on Southlander, $10.95 for a 200 gram ball of Southlander bulky, or if you're buying sport, just $5.95 a ball. Now, I've just come back from the mill. I can tell you that pretty much in balling and caking and finishing, over half of what was there was Southlander coming through. So if we're out of stock of something at the moment, it should be coming through by the end of the month. I saw goldenrod in there. Dusky blue was on the balling machine. I was pretty certain it was dusky blue DK, but dusky blue was on the balling machine when I was there. Southlander cream had been balled. It was just waiting to be bagged, so we'll probably have that in the next day or two. What else did I see? I saw lake blue there, black blue DK. Yeah, there's a whole heap coming through. Some more silver is coming through. We just took the first lot through. There's more still coming through. So there is heaps and heaps and heaps, which is great. And the beautiful thing is that, I mean, the DK is the one that you guys love, because I know so many of us have patterns in DK, and that's what you love to knit. But today I wanted to talk a little bit more about Southlander Bulky, which is a classic 12-ply. And it's the one that we often, and of the three, that you sort of tend to forget, like you tend to use it and think of it more as a blanket yarn. I know a lot of people will only consider it for blankets, but Southlander Bulky, for me, of the 3 yarns, is one that is so incredibly versatile, and there are such wonderful designs out there, and it's just satisfaction guaranteed because it's such quick knitting. I mean, this chiker, I did 2 of these chikers in a month. 2. So I knitted this one, which is obviously in our Southlander charcoal, and the cream and the charcoal here. And then I had so much cream left over, I knitted another one, actually using Ashford Tekaplo 12 ply and Blossom, which is a lovely soft pink. And I mean, I think I knitted, they're so fast. I mean, they're seriously so fast to knit. Now, Chika is by Midori Hirose, and I'm a bit behind. I should have actually gotten that up. But it is a wonderful knit because it's knit from the neck down, and it is this incredible sort of sense of Japanese design. It is a cropped style, and I have to say, I wear this with so much. I wear it over top of dresses. I mean, today, I'll just jump back and show you today. Today, I have what I call the basic capsule on, which is whereby I have I've got black jeans or trousers. I quite often wear a long t-shirt over the top, and then I've just got the chiker over the top of that. But I wear this over maxi dresses. I wear it with these same sort of black t-shirts and long skirts, with a whole heap of things. It's a really versatile piece. It's an oversized piece. And I don't feel, it doesn't worry me that it's an oversized piece with me being a larger person either. It's just such an easy thing to wear. And Southlander Bulky is perfect for it. Absolutely perfect. You can get gauge on there. It was, interestingly enough, they had, I played around with it, and they had 2 needle sizes, and I definitely remember I knitted the Blossom, I think, on the larger needle size, and this one on the smaller needle size. I just wanted, and when I say smaller, I went, like, we're talking, I think the difference between a 5.5 millimeter needle and a 6 millimeter. I just wanted to see the variance of size. So one, that the pink one I've got is slightly more oversized than this one, but depending on the look, it both looks great. So what I did do this morning is I jumped out and I hit the Rav for you to have a look at some other pattern ideas that you could use with Southlander Bulky, which are really wonderful, satisfying, quick and easy knits. Now, the obvious ones for these are ones that are very well-known patterns. So, for example, one pattern that is doing the rounds at the moment and has been incredibly, incredibly popular in this cropped style of jumper is called Ursa, U-R-S-A, by Jacqueline Clark. Incredibly popular. Stephen B has just done a knit along with it. And it is a cropped style with a little sort of triangle in the front. Sorry, I didn't get that one prepared, with a little brioche ribbed panel in the middle. If you have a look on Ravelry, and if someone actually wants to throw that link on Ravelry for me, I'll love you forever. It is perfect. Southlander would be perfect. Bulky would be perfect in that pattern. Very, very popular. The other person that's done some really neat stuff in this weight with rustic yarns like this has been Kate Davies. Do have a look at what she's got. Carbeth is the one that is sort of the most current, the Carbeth cardigan and the Carbeth sweater, both again crop styles, using this chunkier weight, really quick to knit, and she's done it actually in a beautiful mustard. Our goldenrod and Carbeth would look incredible. But one of the patterns that she was really famous for several years ago, in fact it's probably close to 10 years now, was her owl sweater. If you remember, it had a yoke across the top with a number of owls and with buttons for eyes. And the reason I bring the owl sweater up is because the new silver, Southlander silver, for that owl sweater would be incredible, because it's that beautiful grey. She uses a grey in it. This would be utterly amazing, and it is definitely worth checking out. So do go and have a look at those. So there are a couple of people that you know very, very well. And actually the last one I'll mention in that group, and we've got the sample here in the shop, is The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. And that is a pattern that has been incredibly popular, reverse stockinette, again, just a throw over, almost a sloppy Joe style, and it has been hugely popular. So those are probably the it patterns that have been around for a little bit. However, I thought I'm going to have a little dive and actually have a look at some other patterns that are worth checking out that aren't quite necessarily on sort of top of the pops hit parade. One of the ones that I wanted to bring up is, again, actually from one of my favorites. I've knitted Climb Every Mountain by Heidi Kittermeyer, and she also has another one called Avalanche. And I grabbed this one. There it is there. Oopsie. And I grabbed this one because it's very, got that quite classic Aran styling, which I really, really like. It's this lovely sort of arrowhead through the center, a bit of cabling, and I picked it out because, I mean, this would be utterly gorgeous in the silver. Totally, totally amazing. I really enjoy her patterns. I've knitted, as I said, I've knitted Climb Every Mountain, and the thing I love about her patterns is she has really fantastic broad sizing, so from extra small using 645 meters all the way through to 5x, which uses 1500 meters. And to give you an idea, this is 400 meters for the DK version. You're looking at 303 meters for the Southlander bulky version, so 303 meters, or 300 meters into 1500. That's a fairly easy conversion, isn't it? That's five balls of bulky, and this will get you the largest size in that. So that at $10.95, so $55 to knit if you're going 5x on this, is pretty darn good going. So that one is Avalanche. And there are a lot of really nice little pieces. This is a top-down, all-in-one, nice sort of wide neck. You can easily make alterations through the length of the body by the number of repeats that you would add in. So you can actually make some customizations in there. And it is definitely one worth considering checking out. The other one I grabbed, and actually it was so funny because I just walked in I had to grab my laptop from home, left it at home, and the girls, I'd printed these out. I came in early and done the research, printed out these ideas, and this one, the girls were like, "Oh, we love this. Where did you find this?" Again, it was on Ravelry, and I printed this one out because it's written flat. There's good little video tutorials for it. It's a pattern that's obviously been designed as when you go to knit your first cardigan if you've just started knitting piece. However, it's a style that is really current right now. People, if you're knitting, for younger ones, you're a younger person yourself, or you're wanting a really relaxed, what I would call boyfriend style cardigan, this is it here. It's called the Downtown Cardigan. It's by Stephanie Jessica Lau, and it is ostensibly just a garter stitch cardigan, and it's knitted flat in pieces. So it is just 3 rectangles, big rectangle for the back, 2 rectangles for your fronts, and then your sleeves. Now, as you can see, these are quite long bunch sleeves here, but the beautiful thing about this drop-shouldered cardigan is adjusting your sleeve length is the easiest thing in the world to do. You can actually do an easy measurement from where your shoulder is going to do and actually decide how long you want to have it. So it is really customizable. And the beautiful thing is it's just this beautiful relaxed piece, which looks fantastic in these beautiful bulky yarns. So this is, I've grabbed DK, sorry, because it was the bin closest to the thing. But these, if you can just do these up. Now, what was interesting about this is it's all done in garter stitch. But the beautiful thing about garter stitch, so garter stitch has 2 interesting quirks. Quirk 1 is it's actually very yarn hungry. And it's yarn hungry because it is a completely reversible fabric. So when you knit a fabric in garter stitch, it's the same on one side as it is on the other. So it uses around 30% more yarn than stocking stitch. However, in a relaxed style cardigan like this, you can actually go up a needle size. So you can be a little bit more relaxed around your tensioning than what you normally would with a garter stitch item. And Stephanie has done this. She's used an 8mm needle on this as opposed to a 5.5 or a 6mm needle that you would normally use. It's an 11 stitch tension. So this cardigan as well, I mean, she has actually, I've checked the yarn that she used. She has used a yarn that is definitely fitting into a 12 ply or bulky yarn, but you could also use a 14 ply in this easily as well. So if you've got 14 ply like our warm in stash, you could use this for this project. She has 4 sizes, extra. So basically, she's bundled together extra small and small, medium, large, XL to 2X, 3X, 4X. Having a look at the amount of positive ease in there and the fact that it's garter stitch, you've got, I mean, the fit is not super critical on this. It's not designed to be a negative ease type project. It's designed to have loads of flexibility. And you're looking at between 900 and 1,500 meters again. So from a yarn perspective, 5 balls of this for the largest size, and you are cooking with gas and good to go. So it is a project that I think is really fun. I've actually looked at this and thought, gosh, I'd happily knit this for myself. This is for me around the house cardigan. You can play around with the length. You could actually, I mean, even though it's knitted flat in places, you could play around with the length. The other thing I like about this cardigan as well is that with garter stitch, particularly with side seam stitching, you can do some really fun things with that. You can purchase the pattern and easily convert it to have both those sides, fronts and backs all knitted in one if you choose to. That's a really easy thing to do. And then just seam your shoulders to give you a bit of structure and then pop your sleeves in after that. That's not a difficult thing to do if you've got a bit of skill. But it's just that really relaxed style, which is, totally current right now. So that's the downtown cardigan. So I'll show you that again. I just love it. The girls here were all like, oh, we love this. It's not a freebie on Ravelry. It is a charged pattern, but it was pretty reasonable. It was not as much as most of these more modern patterns are. And she had some really nice little tutorials too. So if you're an absolute beginner knitter, you could actually give that a go. It's been designed specifically for those who have not knitted a garment, and this is going to be your first garment to knit for yourself. So I think that's definitely worth checking out. But I don't want it all to be about garments, because not everyone wants to knit garments. And one of the other things that caught my eye when I was doing the search was this. And it caught my eye for 2 reasons. One is when we were on the Can cruise, we actually had a class called a bunny class that we did, Beatrix Bunny, I think we called it. And it was a Susan B. Anderson pattern. And I found this one called Waffles Puppy, and this one here is using a 12 ply yarn. Now they've used a marled yarn in this, but you wouldn't need to use a marled yarn. And as you can see, utterly adorable. And I pulled this one out because if you are knitting for gifts and you have got a little one that you need to knit for, they've knitted this in a natural yarn, actually similar to the Southlander. I've got actually a skein of this yarn in my yarn library, which I bought in the US, and it is this beautiful marled yarn. But again, the Southlander silver, or I think the bracken would look amazing in this dog. And it's 2 pieces, so you actually knit the dog and then you knit its little hat and its little cardigan to go with it. I just think this is so much fun. If you've got some spare Southland left over from projects, you can make this, or if you just want to make this from scratch, I just adore it. So yes, there will be some knitting in the round. There are a few technical things that you will need to do, but if you love to knit toys, knitting hand knitting toys, I think, is such a joy. We did this on the cruise. And they had such a great time doing it. And I just think, honestly, I think waffles is fabulous. So I think if you're wanting something a little bit different to do, that's a smaller project for the summer, this is actually a great summer project because it's not too bulky. It'd be easy to work, and it would just be loads of fun and perfect for Christmas gifts. I just think it's adorable. And last but not least, I haven't forgot our hookers out there. I found this fabulous crochet pattern. Look at that. It's called the what is it? Quinzing, isn't it? Quinjing sweater by Anna D. And I'm just going to get a little bit closer and see if we can get some detail on that stitch. So I'm going to give us some detail on the stitch. It's a really lovely kimono style top. And the notes say it combines 2 crochet stitch patterns to create this fabric. And I just think it's a really lovely contemporary design. It's written in both English and Dutch, and I just thought that was adorable. She's actually used a single roving yarn here, but you could quite comfortably, I think the hook size was an 8mm hook. So again, it's sort of more open, but you could use Southland or bulky with this, absolutely no problem at all. And of course, again, the silver just spoke to me straight away for that color, but also to our charcoal in that I think would look amazing. And that actually is a layering piece over jeans, as you can see with skirts, would look pretty incredible. I'm quite keen to actually give this to Heather, our resident crochet expert here on staff, and I think I'm going to get her to actually hook one of those up for the shop as a sample, because I just think that's fantastic. And it looks from what I can see in the notes, it actually looks relatively straightforward, even for an adventurous beginner crocheter. So there's plenty there to have a look at. Now, the other things I wanted to show you this morning was, obviously I've got my Chika on. One of the things that I love about Southlander is how it wears. And it's been really interesting because there's loads of conversations that often crop up. And one of the constant conversations we get all the time is around pilling. And I know that I've talked about this in previous diaries before, but I wanted to grab both. I've actually literally, when I went to grab my laptop, I dived into the sweater drawer at home to pull this guy out. And I don't think I showed you guys this during the diaries last time. Now, this is something that I knitted for my husband actually about easily 15 years ago. In fact, I knitted this predating me working for Skeinz in Design Spun. It was while I was just a customer, or in fact, it's already inside out, so that's very convenient. Excellent. And it was knitted in what is Southlander bulky, but it was at that stage marketed under another name for another New Zealand company, but an identical yarn. And it's a reverse rib, broken rib. Actually, in fact, the pattern I think is a Gita Schrader pattern from Naturally. So it's a broken rib, but I grabbed it because, as you can see, there's a little, this is the inside of the sweater, by the way. There's a little bit of pilling in there. And I grabbed it because I thought, this seriously, more than 15 years old. And if I put it around the other way, I've washed the sweater, I think, in its life twice. That's all it's been washed. You do not need to wash these natural wool sweaters very much at all. So twice is all this has been washed. I knitted it for my husband, and of course his shape's now changed. He does powerlifting now, so he's got shoulders out here, and this just doesn't fit him. Fits me fabulously, so I've acquired it. So that's it there. I have never given this a D-pill, ever. So as you can see, there's a little bit of pills on the outside. And what I would do is, if anything like that cropped up, I literally would just pluck them off, is how I would go with that. However, I grabbed it because I knew on the inside it was a little bit more pilly than it was on the outside, because I plucked the outside. And I grabbed it because I wanted to show you if you've got these natural yarns, I wanted to show you our sweater stones. So these are the sweater stones here, if you haven't seen them. We get them in from the US, and what they essentially are is a synthetic pumice and done in a block like a sanding block. Lightweight as. These sweater stones are the perfect thing to de-pill these natural non-treated yarns. Absolutely perfect. So there is your pilling there, and literally all you do is just do a light rub across the top like that, and I'll just go and pick them all up because they just all fell off the bottom, and look, they just slough all of those pills off. They're the easiest things to use, and the lovely thing about these is that it doesn't, you keep the integrity of your natural yarn. So I'm just going to just do all of this down here, and it keeps it still looking really fantastic. So it kind of clumps everything together. So there you go. Oh, there we go. Can you see that? Pretty. That's the area there that I've done. Gonny gongons. They really are fantastic. They work brilliantly well if you're using this yarn in blankets. I love Southlander Bulky for blankets. Bronwyn Carolyn, actually, are you in here this morning, Bronwyn? Because you quite often are. Bronwyn, if you are Bronwyn, jump out and say hello and pop the link into your pattern. Bronwyn has, she released a pattern, I think it's called the Memory Blanket. I will find it for you. And she popped it up in the Skeinz Speakeasy. She's done a beautiful version of this blanket using Southlander Bulky. And it was in goldenrod, foxy red, and cream or bracken, I think, from memory. Divine. It looks so beautiful. It's one of her designs. Really gorgeous blanket. And Southlander Bulky, of course, does make fantastic blankets. It's brilliant for blankets. And sometimes I know that people, gosh, I'm putting the pills on the floor. The girls are going to get so grumpy with me. And when it comes to blankets, I know a number of you will crochet blankets. I love crocheting blankets, but you sort of struggle to find what is it that we can knit for a blanket pattern, or you look on Ravelry and you're like, oh, there's so much there. Blankets, I mean, the easiest blankets in the world to knit are garter stitch blankets because they just look brilliant. You know, you can knit swathes of garter stitch and then just colour block. And with the colours we have in Southlander, you can do these beautiful, rich, dynamic, contemporary looking blankets. The other thing, and this is why I grabbed this project as well, the other thing you can do is choose a stitch, and garter stitch is perfect because it's reversible, but that's why what this particular is this stitch here used in this sweater, I think also makes incredible blankets because it's completely reversible. So this is what I call a broken offset rib. So it is ostensibly knit to a 2x2 rib, and then when you do work your 2x2 rib coming back the other way, you offset by one stitch. So you always have a perfect ribbed stitch down here, plus then a garter element in the middle, plus so you've got a perfect stocking stitch, reverse stockinette stitch, garter stitch, and then you keep moving through. But the beautiful thing, of course, is that it's 100% reversible. So when you're knitting a blanket, that's really what you want, is something that's 100% reversible. And because it's a form of ribbing, it doesn't curl around on itself, and it looks amazing. If you're wanting to do a blanket in something like this, that's where the interchangeable needles and long needles on a cable really do come into their own. So that's when you want to be getting yourself some of our Knit Pros, a 150 centimetre cable. If you're going to knit an offset rib blanket in Southlander Bulky, I'd be looking at anywhere between 7.5 or 8 millimetre needle. And fill your boots. Away you go. Knit yourself a wee swatch to begin with. to check your sizing. And then once you've got that swatch and you know how big it is, you can then just cast on and extrapolate your sizing from there. And yeah, and that is the ultimate in lazy TV knitting for the rest of the summer. Sorry. So don't be afraid to do something with that. And again, with Southlander now on special, $10.95 a ball, 200 grams, easy peasy. You'd be looking at around 4 to 5 balls for a pretty decent sized blanket. And when I say that, I'm talking on those needle sizes, even in a broken rib like this blocked queen size bed size. Pretty decent size. So don't be afraid to give something like that a go. Speaking of giving things a go, I wanted to show you this. Heather, our lovely Heather that works here, Heather has got 2 daughters and they're utterly adorable. Like, we love her girls. And I just love it too because I've got 2 boys, so little girls, and these little girls are so cute. And Heather, during the school holidays, Heather got some naked yarns and she had loads of fun with her girls doing some dyeing at home. And so they just grabbed some of our, in fact, it was just our Skeinz sock and the 100-gram cream balls. She just grabbed a couple of balls of those, so they got 1 ball each. And she pulled out food colouring from the kitchen pantry and hundreds of the sprinkles, the cake sprinkles, and just some white vinegar, and away they went. Microwave method, looked it up on the internet, and each one of her girls had a ball each. She turned them into hanks, and this is the result. Isn't that fantastic? So much fun. Her daughters are so proud, and what she's doing is she is taking these. They've got 1 each. So she's knitting them into socks. Here's the one here using this. The other daughter did it with some sprinkles. So one daughter did this, the other daughter did that. And look at the socks. She's knitting these into socks. And so they're going to be 2 completely different socks. So one is going to be a sock like this and the other is going to be a sock like this. But they're going to be a Christmas gift for, and I'm not going to say who because that's going to let the surprise out. But that's what they're intended for. I just think they're utterly fantastic. And so if you're at home and you're wanting to do some dyeing with the kids, as I said, she just used our classic Skeinz sock, $12 for a 100-gram ball, $12.95 I think they are for a 100-gram ball. So you can just buy those as singles, or you can actually invest and purchase a kilo and 100-gram hanks, which we have in naked, which hopefully I think we've got a few left in stock. They are all coming back though, for any of our naked skeins. And it is such a fantastic project to do with kids because they just love doing it. Dyeing anything, and I know Margaret's actually in chat. I know Margaret, you take stuff to kids in schools, and she's spoken a lot about the satisfaction and the joy that this brings to kids. And I just think that is such a neat project to do. And what we're going to be doing coming up for the summer period is we're going to be making up some kits, some very, very basic learn to dye kits. We're working with a team from Ashford. We're getting some dyes in from them to make it nice and easy for you. They're smaller dyes. So you've got the dyes on hand. You don't have to rely on food colouring, and we're going to get them boxed up into kits for Christmas and the summer holidays. So keep your eyes posted for those. They'll probably take a few weeks for us to get them together and up, but I just wanted to let you know about that because we were completely inspired by what Heather had done with her daughters and the likes of Margaret have done with her grandson's class down in the Horowhenua and Manawatu area. So they are just some really fun things that you can do with the kids, or even yourself, actually, if you're wanting to to try it out. I actually did ages ago, actually, when I was still writing the blog here for Skeinz. I had a play around with some dyeing, just with some yarns. I think I used like a slubber, the Colorado it was actually, and using food colouring, the microwave method, and I've knitted a shawl. And there we go. And Margaret's saying here she's also doing holiday packs using non-acidic dyes, which actually for kids is a really great idea as well. So that's over at Squishy McDo. So yeah, this is something that's really fun to do. You do need to check it out, and it's really satisfying, really satisfying. And I know that what I ended up dyeing, I had some Angora just off a sample cone from somewhere, and that's what I had. And I dyed that with food colouring, and I actually knitted a shawl out of it, and it was completely unique, and absolutely loved it. So it is so much fun to do some stuff that you can play around with. Right. Now, Kathy is saying she's made an order this weekend for Southlander Bulky to knit Stephen West's A Little Bit of Iceland blanket. Colour work and circular, cream, charcoal and silver. Oh my gosh, that would look amazing, Kathy. And in fact, Staff Blanket too. Stephen West's blanket that he did, which is I know Ethan and Deb have done in Bandit, which looks amazeballs, would also look incredible in Southlander. So that is another option. And now that we've got a lot of those colours back, if you're wanting to do a staff blanket and it's been the cost that's put you off, this is definitely the time to do it, with the pricing being so good that it is. Margaret's saying her packs don't use food colouring though. I've seen your packs, Margaret. They're fantastic. She does use proper non-acidic dyes. They're pretty excellent. So there are plenty of options out there. With the food colouring, I can tell you they do need a lot of vinegar to set it. So, and the colours, yeah, I mean, that's not too bad for food colouring, I have to say. Right, I think that's me, unless anyone else has got any questions for me. I honestly, I don't know whether you've been able to hear the rain. It was, it's been absolutely chucking it down out there. Crazy. Is there any benefit using non-acidic dye for kids? Look, you just have to be a little bit more careful, obviously, when you're looking for dyes. The other thing with non-acidic dyes is they do tend to be a little bit more natural in base. And also, if you're using non-treated yarns, non-acidic dyes are great. They also work great on treated yarns too, but they do better actually on non-treated yarns. And kids are kids, they sometimes get things around, and but you just need to be a little bit careful. There's also loads of don't jump online. I've seen people use things like jelly crystals and thrifty drink cordial. There's so many different things that you can use. Ostensibly, if there's a full-on food colouring in it, you can dye with it, and you'll be amazed at what you can play around with. And if you actually don't want to use anything chemical, avocados. If you want to do some dyeing, avocados does some really crazy, beautiful things with colour. Onion skins, flowers, leaves. There we go. Margaret's answered your questions. Yes, you can't use acidic dyes in your microwave. Yes, I know with acidics, you actually generally have to put it in a pot and heat it up to a certain temperature. But these, with food, hence the reason why food colouring is a good option. All right, I'm going to head off and get a newsletter put together with some of these ideas for you, just in case you're wondering what I was yabbering on about and you want to get some links for some of these patterns. And get your orders and keep your eyes out, your eyes peeled. As I said, the spotlight for Southlander is on for the entire month, so you're not going to miss out on that at all. And as I said, new colours coming in. But until then, I'm going to go, it's honestly, you can barely see outside. It is utterly pouring here. Miserable, completely miserable. I'd much rather be at home knitting, if I'm entirely honest with you. That's right. I'll make wonderful things happen here for you guys instead. Until then, I will talk to you again on Thursday. Take care.